This is my Instagram feed from this week. You see an afternoon at the beach, a picnic in the pumpkin patch, all normal posts, right? But what if I told you that none of those pictures were real, and that for the last 7 days, I edited myself into some of the most iconic Disney movies to see if any of my followers could distinguish between animation and real life? I left dozens of clues in plain sight, but would that be enough for anyone to recognize the scenery from my photos and catch on to my scheme? Or is modern animation so good that even backgrounds from the top trending titles on Disney Plus would go undetected? My first step was narrowing down which movies to use as backgrounds. Cinderella, for example, features beautiful hand-drawn animation, but that style lacks the realism found in today's computer-generated animation, so I went with movies I knew had the high-resolution imagery I needed to match the pictures from my 24-megapixel camera. I carefully selected individual movie frames with the appropriate scale and definition to where I could believably blend in, but also made sure to pick from recognizable scenes so that my audience would at least have a chance to figure out what was going on. And since we're in a pandemic, I only chose backgrounds without other people in them so it would appear as if I could plausibly be social distancing like I would be in the real world. Frozen 2. The scene I've chosen to insert myself in is when Anna and Olaf have a picnic during the song Some Things Never Change. The blanket I'll be sitting on was heavily featured in the movie's marketing campaign, as well as a popular At Home with Olaf short on YouTube. Since this frame captures a sunny fall day in Arendelle, I had to get creative with lighting since I'd be capturing my part of the picture inside on a green screen. So I made this special contraption which I could shine light through to emulate forest-like shadows, and then I held up a pumpkin as my pose to seal the deal. As I was doing this, Josh Gad, the voice actor of Olaf, liked a tweet about my last Disney Theory YouTube video, which just felt like good luck to me. And if you haven't seen that one, I'll leave a link in the description down below so you can watch that after this. But I quickly got to editing, and after a few tweaks, I was satisfied with what I had created. Alright, so I just posted my first photo, and I came up with the caption, "What a strangely cinematic pumpkin patch," which is perfect because it is extremely cinematic, and hopefully that will give people somewhat of a hint that it is literal cinema and not real. However, I don't necessarily expect people to figure it out based on just one post. Once I post more of these pictures, there's more of a chance that people will start to catch on.
2 hours later.
People are saying, "This is so cute, I love this, forget spooky season, it's cinematic season here. What lovely pictures. So cool, where is it? Or do you just have a very top-notch green screen?" So one person is on to me, unibookworm_17. In addition, the picture got posted onto the Frozen Reddit page, and it's received comments such as, "Where is Olaf and Anna, and what did you do with them? I just saw them here, and now they are gone." Coincidentally, just a few minutes after I posted my picture, the official Disney Frozen account posted this meme, which is essentially of the same scene that I just recreated on the blanket. And to add insult to injury, one of my friends who I follow on Instagram reposted that photo onto her story from the official Frozen account. So maybe more than a couple people are onto me in this case. However, I'm still holding out hope for what's to come. We shall see whether anyone starts to catch on with Toy Story 4. This movie has what I consider to be the most realistic animation of any animated movie ever. The rain, the carnival, the playground, the road, it all looks like it was filmed in real life. I could have chosen nearly any scene from this movie and made it work, but the antique store is home to a whole nother level of detail perfect for my purposes. But despite how ideal the antique store scene seemed, I struggled to get a high quality frame of it because Disney Plus stopped letting me screenshot their movies. I was able to eventually figure out a workaround, but not without struggling through literal depression at the thought of my plan failing because of an anti-piracy measure. But once I took the picture, I ran into a potential problem. The antique store hallway was dimly lit, and for some odd reason, I wore the brightest white jeans I own in this photo. However, I went back through the scene from the movie and located a retro set of table and chairs that I was able to edit in front of my pants, and I gave it a little blur to make it seem real. This was just a couple of days before Halloween, so I decided to make this post a multiple collage with other vintage Halloween pictures. But speaking of Halloween, I had prospects for a truly spooky photograph using the movie Onward. The Manticore's Tavern already looked like a haunted house from the outside, so this was perfect. Well, at least I thought it was. I took a picture holding a flashlight to pretend I was exploring on an ominous evening, but I wasn't happy with the way it turned out, so I decided to scrap it. But this gave me an even better idea from The Incredibles 2. At this point, I'd posted 2 pictures that I thought looked good, but after the Onward failure, I wanted to change things up a bit so people wouldn't start to get suspicious. The Incredibles 2 has some incredible visuals, but one location in the movie that stands out to me is the hotel they're forced to stay in at the start of the film. It fascinated me when I first saw the movie in the theater, but one evening I was leaving the Walt Disney Studios and I drove past this hotel with a neon sign that looked like it was straight out of the Incredibles 2 movie, which was weird because that was animated, so they obviously didn't film there. But I did some research, and sure enough, the filmmakers based the hotel in Incredibles 2 on the Safari Inn in Burbank. So instead of photoshopping myself into the Incredibles 2, what if I did the opposite and took a real picture at the actual location? This would be an additional test to see if anyone could distinguish between a photo taken in a real-life environment and one taken on a green screen and inserted into an animated movie frame. So that's what I did, but what I wasn't aware of is that this motel has been featured in countless movies and television shows. I actually got a DM from someone saying, "Never would have struck you as a true romance fan," because apparently that movie filmed there as well. So I needed to get back on track, and the perfect movie to do that was Moana. Motunui is where Moana is from, and everyone of course knows it as the island featured in the song How Far I'll Go. But the island where Moana shipwrecked and found Maui is also gorgeous, but less recognizable to the point where it wasn't even named in the movie or anywhere on the internet for that matter. I originally tried to edit myself onto that island, but I wasn't pleased with how the color scheme was turning out. So I switched the background to Motunui, and after a few hours of fine-tuning, I was satisfied. I thought long and hard about what I should caption this photo, and ultimately I remembered that Moana's grandmother gave her some really good advice during the song I Am Moana, and I looked up those words and she said, "Nothing on earth can silence the quiet voice still inside you," which I think is the perfect message for election week. So I made that my caption and put a little ballot box next to the photo. I posted it just a little while ago, and let me tell you what comments I've received. Is this real? This edit is just ... chef's kiss, which means that user JustJake95 seems to have figured out that I'm on Motunui. Otherwise, he probably would not have said that. I think the comment asking if it was real was referring to the island because it's so beautiful that it's almost unbelievable. But the fact that someone actually did recognize this beach as being from Motunui meant that I needed to work a little bit harder. So I decided to take a turn and go with a movie none of us have seen yet, Soul. There's some nice fall foliage in the newly restarted marketing campaign for its upcoming Disney Plus release, so I decided to play with that. I took this picture in a parking garage and digitally added some faux fur lining to make the coat look more expensive than it was, since the fall foliage seemed to be located in a nice borough of New York City. Because this background is from a movie that hasn't come out yet, I decided to be really direct with my caption. Got butterflies in my soul about today, which of course lined up with my feelings because I posted this on Election Day, November 3rd, as well as the name of the movie and the fake little butterflies I added next to me to distract from the photoshopped background. On Election Day, I needed a distraction, so I worked hard on finding the right frame to use from Tangled. I began by rewatching the Snuggly Duckling scene because I remembered that there was a piano in there and I play the piano, so photoshopping myself playing the piano would be a good fit. But unfortunately, the proportions didn't make sense. However, I found a gem of a chair that I thought would be super cool to sit in. I prepared for this challenge by using special software to line myself up in front of the green screen in the exact position I needed to be in to appear to be sitting in the chair. It did work, but after I edited it, it seemed flat and void of all the real-life qualities my previous photos had. Part of the reason is that Tangled was made over a decade ago, and it just isn't quite aesthetically to the level of Disney's more recent animated releases. But as I was editing this, I noticed that the sun was beginning to set outside my window, which meant that it was the golden hour for photography. So I went outside and took some pictures, hoping I could find one I like and some frame to match it in the movie. Luckily, it did work out, and I found the moment when Flynn Rider and Rapunzel are by the river at sunset with just the right lighting. So my caption for my final picture was me waiting till the election results are less tangled up with that eye, mouth, eye sort of face there. Comments have come in. There's one in Spanish. There's a ridiculous political comment. Someone just says, you need to calm down. Hi, sexy. But then the most important comment is, when will my life begin without Trump? And that obviously is a reference to Tangled, the song that Rapunzel sings, When Will My Life Begin? So Cameron Proctor, congratulations. I think that you've officially cracked the code. At this point, I could see that some of my Instagram followers were on to me, but I hadn't yet challenged the social media site where I have the biggest platform, TikTok. I have around 34,000 followers on TikTok. If I did a video full of these photos that went viral, it would only be because people recognize the pictures as all being from Disney movies. So if I post something and it flops, that would mean the animation was so lifelike that people didn't think anything of it. And if it goes viral, that would tell me that people can distinguish between animation and reality, and my experiment would fail. So I set out to make a video with the best prospects of going viral, hoping that it would flop. I decided to put all the photos into a nice travel journal, and I printed symbols such as the Arendelle crest, the Moana spiral, and the Tangled sun on the pages as subliminal hints. I also included pictures of scenery like the Eiffel Tower from Ratatouille and Radiator Springs from Cars sprinkled throughout. I also did a bit of research into the most popular TikTok sounds right now, and the 4th most used song features Olaf speaking a few lines, so I knew this would be a perfect fit. Alright, so I just finished editing the TikTok, but one of the most important things I want to get right before I post it is the hashtags. So I want to make sure this video reaches Disney fans, because Disney fans are going to be the ones familiar with the backgrounds that I've photoshopped myself into. And the best way to reach Disney fans is to use Disney hashtags. But I need to be able to put the hashtags in a location to where the people scrolling through their For You page and seeing this video won't see the Disney hashtags, because again, I'm trying to hide the fact that these are Disney movies. So what I've come up with is I put some generic travel TikTok hashtags on the top, and I put just enough to where you would have to actually click on the 3 dots to see more hashtags to see that I've also put hashtag Disney check, hashtag Disney World, hashtag Disney, hashtag animation. There is a plane going above my house right now, but that's another story. I'm worried it's gonna crash over my roof one day. But I'm about to post this. I've come up with the caption, there's nothing wrong with traveling solo, which is just an innocent caption to kind of throw people off. And it's true, there is nothing wrong with traveling solo, but here we go. 3, 2, 1, post. Okay, update. I posted it 1 minute ago and I already got a response. It says, took me a second. They're all scenes from Disney movies. So apparently the first person who cared to comment recognized it. So it's clear enough that people are able to see that they're Disney movies. However, I have a feeling so many people are going to see this, hopefully so many people, and just think, oh, how cute, he's traveling solo. So we'll see. So after the initial comment, which led me to believe a lot of people were going to figure it out, just the opposite happened. The TikTok didn't faze many people at all and officially flopped, which brings me to my conclusion. So, was modern animation so perfect that it was indistinguishable from real life? Or did my followers just not care enough to say anything? I think that it was indeed real enough to trick almost everyone, because surely more people would have said something had they figured it out. And I think they probably would have figured it out had I stood in front of, say, the Gusteau sign from Ratatouille, or the Internet Works from Ralph Breaks the Internet. My best guess is that most modern animation backgrounds are so lifelike that people take them for granted, and they don't remember them like they do traditional 2D hand-drawn animation. For instance, the ocean in Finding Dory just looked like the ocean. We all know it, but the ocean, for example, in The Little Mermaid was stylized to the point where I could probably sketch it for you just by memory. Perhaps people should have known it wasn't real, because I really don't leave my house since we are still in a global pandemic, but I must say that today's animators do amazing work. Just look at these close-up portraits of the Toy Story 4 toys. These are not photographs, it's all animated. So to sum things up, I invented Photoshop and you should subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, bye!